Welcome to Perspectives on Healthy Living. I'm Gabrielle Antolovich, your host with Voices United in collaboration with the Pathway Society. And we have Hewitt Joyner, who's the director of the Aquarius Project. And you're dealing with parents who have young people who've been arrested for various crimes. Like, what kind of crimes?
Well, the average crime that we're seeing are 211s, which are robbery charges, and 240s to 245s, which are assault and battery charges.
And how old are these young people?
Well, they're ranging from your 12-year-old to your, obviously we're talking about juveniles, so 12-year-olds to 18-year-olds. And the numbers are staggering, if you don't mind.
Assault and battery?
Assault, well, see now, so let me explain assault and battery.
Yeah.
Assault is me threatening you. It's not me actually hitting you.
Oh, I see.
Battery is me hitting you.
Yeah.
So those are two separate charges. Most people think that's only one charge because they're so used
assault
to
and
hearing
battery.
it on TV.
Yeah,
right,
that's
no,
right.
And the situation is if there's assault and battery charge that occurs, you could be looking at 2 strikes. Yes.
Really?
I've dealt with that on too many cases here in San Jose.
2 strikes in one.
Case in point. A case we just dealt with about 4 or 5 months ago. 2 young ladies, no names, out of high school, no name, were not actually involved in this young lady getting hurt, but were standing there. That's called a co-part, that you were involved, but you didn't actually hurt the girl.
Yeah.
So what happened is that this girl was putting dots on her face, trying to represent a particular gang. I'm not going to say what dots. The one girl who who threatened her a couple of times and says, "You better stop doing that."
Right.
Well, the girl kept doing it.
Kept putting dots on her.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the girl was fed up. One day, told the girl, "I'm going to see you outside." And there were 7 girls total. The 2 girls that I was representing were just standing there. Both girls were charged with 2 felony strikes and a 707B. And a 707B is a felony violent act. Follows you for the rest of your life, cannot be sealed.
Oh my God.
So when I advocated for these 2 young ladies in court, they had 2 strikes, 2 felony strikes, the 707B, and gang enhancement. And gang enhancement is an extra 3 years per case. So I was able to get the gang enhancement taken off, both felony strikes taken off, and unfortunately, and I hate doing this, but unfortunately, both girls were charged with the 707B.
What's 707B?
Is the violent act. Because it was a violent act, my conversation with the DA and the judge was, well, they didn't actually hurt the girl. Because you're there, you're considered a co-part, you're just as guilty as the person who actually hurt the girl.
So what could they have done? Run away?
Legally, the only way that you stop being charged by something like that is by stopping the action. That means you physically have to get involved and stop the other girl from hurting the other girl. Now, 90% of people out here don't even know that. The other 10%, if they know that, aren't going to even try to do it.
So what if they ran away?
You're still there. You're still there.
Wow.
You did not stop the action. You're just as guilty as the person who actually hurt the person.
That is scary.
It is. It is. And unfortunately, both of my girls are doing 8 months at the ranch today.
Wow.
I'll probably be able to get them out soon. Then they're going to go on an intensive aftercare, which means probation department. They have to take a P test weekly to make sure that they don't have any substance abuse problems. If they violate in any way, shape, or form, they're going to go back on the weekends. And if they still continue to mess up, then they're going to go back for 30 days. If they continue to mess up after that, their probation will be revoked and they will go back to jail.
Oh.
Now, most people don't understand that who pays for all this? The parent has to pay for this. And your average cost of your child going to juvenile hall for 6 to 8 months is $3,000 minimum. I know parents that owe close to $10,000 to the probation department right now. There's no way that they can pay it.
$3,000 for 8 months?
That's just a start. That's not including incidentals, and it's definitely not including restitution. If there was a car involved, and let's say my son decided that he was going to steal a car in the city of San Jose.
And smashed it into a tree.
Well, hang on. He steals a car, and let's go by what type of car this is. So let's be cheap. Not to say Hyundai is cheap, but let's just say
cheaper than other cars.
Right. He stole a Hyundai, an older model, not the new ones, and he crashed it. So the blue book value for that car could be $12,000. Guess what Dad owes? I owe $12,000.
Wait, woo.
Yes. On top of the $3,000 that I'm going to end up having to pay the probation department for my child being incarcerated for up to 6 months. And you have to pay $36 per month to be on probation. So, yeah.
Okay.
We're starting to do these trainings, and we want to train parents in Santa Clara County to be aware of these things and to start to parent. Don't be popular. Your job as a parent is not to be popular.
What do you mean by popular?
Well, let me say this. I used to tell my son, I would love to be the cool dad, but you're not allowing me. All the stupid things that you're doing are not only going to cost me more money later on. To be a good father, I have to make sure that you're doing the right thing. Which means if I see that you're not doing something correctly, then I have to
point it out.
Not only point it out, that there are consequences involved in all the actions that you do. So if my son, which he unfortunately did, he decided that he was going to steal some things out of people's cars, not the actual car, but break into the car. So when he got caught doing that, I would have had to have paid the court costs, the court fees, the lawyer fees, on top of whatever time he does at juvenile hall.
And that's too expensive.
Well, that's the parent's responsibility. So if the parent starts acting like a parent, which means, once again, if the child does something wrong, you punish them. Now, I'm not talking about corporal beatings. Let's not go that route.
No.
But we're talking about, okay, they're not allowed to go hang out. You're not going to any parties.
Take away the cell phone.
Take away definitely the cell phone. Here's another thing that a lot of people don't realize. There was a woman last summer, I believe, in Watsonville, and she heard that her daughter was about to get into a fight. So instead of keeping her daughter home and making sure her daughter did not get involved in the fight, she kind of egged it on. So when her daughter started to get into the fight, she got a little bit worried because her daughter was getting ready to fight a girl who was a gang member.
Oh, no.
So the mother, who's not gang involved, never been gang involved, decided that she was going to throw out some gang slurs to possibly keep the other girl's friends from jumping in. Well, they videotaped this. They videotaped it on a cell phone. And a lot of kids today are taping cell phones to put them on YouTube.
That's right.
Mom has to do 120 days in jail because of what she said on the videotape. And both girls got locked up because they decided they want to videotape an assault and battery and broadcast it.
Yeah.
Which is not the smartest thing to do.
Oh my God. How has this happened over time?
Well, part of it is that the mindset of being cool now is no longer being a jock or being a good student. The mindset of being cool, I would say for the last 10 to 15 years actually, is gangsterism, to be a thug, to be a gangster. And these kids have no clue what it means to be a gangster, to be a thug. You're going to commit crimes. You're going to hurt people. You're going to rob people. You're going to possibly shoot people. There are consequences in our country for all of those things.
Yeah.
And if you decide to do those things and you get caught, then that's where they say, oh, woe is me. Why are you trying to lock me up for 10 to 15 years of my life because all I did was put a gun in a kid's face? Well, as far as society is concerned, that's something that you're not supposed to do, and we back up the consequences involved in that.
Right,
but
and there's a lot of music.
Correct. Well, let's the rock and roll, the hip hop.
Right.
Just because you hear a lyric doesn't mean that you go do it. Just because, like my parents used to say to me back in the day, if you see one of your friends jump off a bridge, are you going to do the same thing? Well, if I'm a follower, yes. No. If I'm a follower, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Now, your average stats out there are what, 98% of the population are followers?